Hey guys, Cody Meyer here. We just finished up the second stop of the 2017 FLW Tour season on Lake Travis. Just got back to the house. I had a really tough tournament. You know, my grandpa always used to say, hey Cody, that's why they call it fishing, not catching. We've all been there. And it was a weird place. You know, I caught tons of bass. You know, catching fish wasn't the issue. Some days, you know, between practice and tournament days, I'd catch up to 70 bass a day and very few keepers. Really weird. You know, I felt like I was doing the right thing. A couple different patterns going on out there. For one, you know, there was a ton of brush. The deal with Lake Travis was it was low for so many years, and then finally they got a bunch of water. During those low years, a bunch of brush grew up in the lake. Then the lake flooded, so there was plenty of cover for these fish. There's docks, there's brush, there's offshore rock. A couple of the patterns I found I thought were going to be really good in the tournament was throwing a little swim bait. This is a little Strike King Rage Swimmer. It's a 3.75 inch. I was throwing on a Strike King Squadron head. That was a 1/2 ounce and 3/8. But what the fish were doing, there was these docks, long cables would run out in front of the docks. It would group up on those cables. So I was really throwing this swim bait around there, and again, every single dock it seemed like you'd come to, you'd catch a fish. So it was, you know, it was really intriguing. It's just the lack of keepers weren't there. And when you would get a keeper, they'd be, you know, in the middle of a bunch of, you know, 12, 13-inch bass. So again, catching fish wasn't the issue. Really fun tournament. Just frustrating to get the big bites. But as far as the rod and reel and the line setup for this Rage Swimmer by Strike King, this is a Signature Series Tatula Elite rod. This is a prototype rod. You know, it's a really cool concept we're doing here at Daiwa. This is actually Randy Howe's rod. He designed it. It's a 7'4". You know, it's a topwater spinnerbait bladed jig rod, perfect for little swim baits as well. And you know, we're taking the best actions from each one of us, you know, Daiwa National Pro Staff members, and we're applying it into the rod we want. We're all going to be able to fish it, which is really cool. As far as the reel, this is a Tatula SV TW. It's got the T-wing on there. It's a 6 foot, or a 6'3" gear ratio. You know, it's I wanted a lower speed when I'm winding this swim bait. I was throwing on 15-pound Seaguard VizX line. Really good line, really tough around those cables. And again, just throwing it out there. These fish were, you know, 10 to 25 feet down on these cables, and again, you get plenty of bites. You know, I also did a ton of flipping out there. You know, I felt like you could get a bigger bite. I think a lot of it was right area, but then you had to have that luck factor too, because tons of flooded brush and bushes out there. You'd flip and you'd catch just a ton of fish. The bait of choice for me, guys, this is one of my favorite baits of all time. Anywhere you're at in the country, this is going to work, I promise you. This is a Strike King Rage Bug. You know, we make two different sizes. This is the original smaller size. It's really cool. It's got a bunch of little appendages on there, you know, and some tails. They're going to kick. You know, all the baits in the Rage Craw line are going to have a lot of action. Just throwing that on a little 1/2 ounce Strike King tour grade tungsten weight, an Owner Jungle flipping hook, a 4/0. You know, that's an awesome hook, and 20-pound Seaguard Tatsu line. You know, again, it was so exciting because you'd come down the bank, there'd be a perfect bush in the water, you'd flip in there, and about every bush you'd get a bite. Just, again, hard to get keepers. As far as the rod, I was throwing an 8-foot punch-in flipping rod. This was designed by Ish here. Again, it's a Tattoo Elite rod, just a perfect action. And I was throwing the Tatula SV TW in the 7'3" gear ratio here in the casting reel, just to have a little bit more power to get those fish out. Last but not least, you know, I was catching a ton of fish around docks, around brush, you know, throwing a little Strike King Ocho, a 5-inch. This is actually the same rod, same reel, same line, same bait that I caught the potential world record spotted bass on. So, you know, again, this is going to work everywhere. What I was doing, I was taking this Ocho, just a green pumpkin color, again, throwing it in the back of pockets, anywhere I thought fish were going to be spawning. You know, the water was in the low 60s to mid 60s, so fish are definitely thinking about spawning down there in Texas. I was taking it on a little Owner mosquito hook. I tied my own little weed guard on there, wacky rigging it just like this, just right in the middle of the bait, and it's definitely a deadly combo. This is a rod I designed. Again, it's a Tattoo Elite Signature Series. This rod's got a lot of good mojo on it right now. You know, it's a 7'4". It's a versatile rod. I designed this rod to throw a wacky rig, throw a drop shot and heavier cover, throw a shaky head or a tube, something like that. And it's just perfect to me. It's got the AGS guides on there, so it's going to be light. And I was, you know, just pretty much taking that Ocho, pitching around, had the Exist reel on there, Seagar braided line, a 15-pound test braided line to an 8-pound fluorocarbon Tatsu leader from Seagar. And again, really interesting tournament. Like I said, tons of bites. You go out there and you get bit all day long. It's just, I miss it by a little bit. I saw a lot of big ones caught around me, in front of me, behind me. So I was there, just had a bad tournament, but hey, it's time to rebound. I can't wait to get home for a couple days, come back, go to Florida, do it all over again. Next time, gonna catch a lot bigger fish.